Greetings, everyone. Welcome once again to the Oz and Crew Reviews podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ozzy, and with me, as usual, is my co host, Mad Matt.
I'd buy that for $1.
We don't even build up to that at all, huh?
Nah, just go right for it.
This this is a movie that I think like most people will, even if they haven't seen it, be aware of a lot of memes that have come from it.
You've felt it in some way or some form. You've seen something from it somewhere.
It's kind of like there's a lot of things that are like that. That just have a
That ripple
cultural,
effect. Yeah,
yeah,
that cultural ripple effect.
a cultural ripple effect. Where even if you haven't seen it, when you see certain things, you're like, I know that. It's
Even if
like
you haven't seen it, you've either heard the music from it, you've seen the actors that were inspired by it, you've seen the art that was inspired by it. Something, I guarantee you hit something somewhere. And even as you mentioned, memes.
yeah,
That I'll buy it for that for $1, even if it doesn't get used as often, is still an undying meme to this
yeah.
day.
And it's like I think a good example, comparison to something else is like, even if you've never seen the good, the bad, and the ugly,
Mm-hmm.
you recognize that na 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 wah 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 music.
Oh yeah.
Everybody recognizes that, even if they've never seen the movie.
Even if it's an offshoot version of someone trying to mimic it, you can already go, "Oh, that's Western music." Yeah, what's going on? What's happening?
There must be a showdown a coming. Um,
Let's play a
well,
little bit of Bangkok rules. No one fires until his can hits the ground.
and I think this is probably the first movie we're going to review where we're both just going to be gushing over it,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
like we both like Ghostbusters, but you like Ghostbusters way more than I do. I've always loved RoboCop.
Yeah, RoboCop was always there on TV. Like, even if it was censored down and cut and all that stuff, it's like it was still there to some degree at least. I'm pretty sure I had friends that used to have the uncut movies, and then I want to say when they first released it, I got the director's cut when it came to DVD in like the like the 2000 teens. I want to say it was too like late 2000s. They finally got that out there, and yeah, I've had that hard case version of it ever since.
I do want to say, well, I really, I even now I don't actually understand the logic behind it, but this was the only rated R movie that my parents actually let me watch before I was a teenager.
I assume they would have watched it themselves and went, it's safe enough."
I don't know. I'm not sure
I
entirely.
know my parents had some certain ones like that too for me.
Because, like, I definitely did
Um,
not get to watch horror movies. Well, actually, that's not entirely true because I guess. I mean, I don't. I know it technically is, but I do not consider Gremlins a horror movie.
it's it's a comedy horror.
Yeah, I think that kind of
The comedy comes
de-horrifies it
before the horror.
to an
Yeah.
extent, yeah. Um, with that said, you want to. Most people already know the story of this movie, but
Or
for
the RoboCop.
those
I'll very quickly summarize it. That's not a hard one at all.
for those who don't, the synopsis.
For those who don't, the quick synopsis of RoboCop. It is the near future. Detroit has declined significantly to the point that they just need to literally clear out the place and start from scratch. A company, OCP, has decided to do this. In their decision to do this, they've also taken over the police force, which is now suffering casualties massively every day, almost. They are, because of this, realizing that they need to do something themselves in order to help the police. So they decide to set up a idea for essentially a mechanical cop that will be around 24/7 and can deal with crime without the loss of life and without the damage to profits. To this, one of the plans is to make a giant robot that's called Ed 209. And when it fails and accidentally kills one of the staff members at a meeting, they decide that's not the way to go. However, they did have a backup plan, and when it's announced that they could go into the plan full on in 3 months, they're given the chance to go ahead with it. to which they have planted police officers in specific high danger zones in order to get because if they do it, they're technically signed up to legally hand over their bodies for whatever examination, and they're assuming that only really good, really brave cops would sign up for going to more dangerous zones to help out. Enter Alex Murphy, who on his first day literally gets shot down by the leading cop murderer in the entire state of entire city, and this cop murderer, if I can see him, Clarence Spottiker, manages to get away, but they leave behind his uh,
Partner.
partner. Yeah,
But
his partner Lewis.
they did
And
think
Lewis.
she was dead, but she wasn't.
They knocked her off a high ledge and just assumed she was dead. She was at best stunned for a little while and bruised arm. So enter the horrific shooting that becomes Alex's death. He is picked up, quickly tested on, and found to be unable to sustain his own life. To which OCP then takes the body and starts the Robocop plan, which resuscitates him, and we see from his own POV as he's slowly being put together piece by piece as his vision also further and further clarifies, going to essentially a more of a rustic 80 cameras mode for a while. He's brought back to the same department that he used to be a part of, and amidst his testing of his abilities at the shooting range and other places, it's noticed by Ann Lewis that he has a lot of Alex's mannerisms, and she already figures out very quickly that whatever's in there used to be Alex. He's given the keys. He's goes off for his first couple nights of run around and solves like 5 or 6 crimes without any loss of life, except for one man who got smashed out a window. But he was the gunman, so no harm, no foul. The weeks pass, crime is falling, but as this continues on for a little while longer, Robocop begins to have memories again, despite the fact that they tried to wipe them, and he finally remembers his own death, at least parts and bits of it. He goes out to try and seek the people who did this to him to get answers, if nothing else. And by happenstance, he runs into one of the men he held up at gunpoint at one point just before his death, Emil. When Emil shouts out that he remembers him and that he and the others killed him, he runs off. But Robocop, after a small explosion at a gas station, manages to stop Emil and starts questioning him. Unable to get answers since he is basically unconscious, he takes his face, is able to use it as memory for a photo, and takes it to the data center and finds Emil, his partners, and his own death. Goes to his previous home to find it empty and up for sale. He then rounds up the rest of the goons, finally catching up with Clarence, and even though he puts him away, he finds out that this goes above him. Dick Jones, who at this point had already killed Robocop's creator, Bob Morton, is actually behind everything, and he goes to arrest Dick, only to have the Prime Directive 4 pop up on him, which is supposed to shut down all machines. Thing is, Robocop is not just purely a machine, so he fights off the shutdown, but is unable to proceed after Jones, and instead is attacked by Ed 209 again. He manages to at least damage it and outsmart it by going down a flight of stairs, which the Ed 209 cannot. Programming. Thumbs up. He's attacked by essentially a SWAT team when he gets out, with a few of the fellow officers from his department protesting that this is obviously not right. He's saved by Ann Lewis again and brought to the same factory where he got shot up as a human, funny enough. And he starts doing some repair work. He's able to also remove his helmet for the first time, revealing that bits of Alex are still there, but he can only feel things he can't quite fully remember at all. With that, they don't have much time to sit there and reflect as using the tracker that's built into Robocop, Clarence and the remaining goons show up to try and shoot him down. One by one, they start picking off the lesser goon squad until Clarence is once more the last man standing, and has a one-on-one with Robocop where he gets stabbed in the neck and finally dies. They go back to OCP. Alex is finally gets Dick fired with the evidence he has against him, and is finally able to protect the old man as Dick Jones tries to run off with him as a hostage, and instead shoots him out of a, I want to say, like 50-story tall window, and pretty much ends the movie when he's asked, "What's his name?" and he replies Murphy before leaving.
Yep. Um, I do say it was
I am
like
from the human spirit.
yeah, and I did point out when we were watching it, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. They don't really show any of the aftermath of what just happened in this movie. It just cuts to
Nope.
credits, which I guess the second movie gets to do that. But they probably didn't even know they were going to get a second movie when they made
They didn't know
this.
they were going to, as far as I'm aware. I was how many years between movies?
Let me double check.
Robocop Wikipedia.
RoboCop 2 was 3 years later.
Took about 3 years. That's a fast turnaround for that sort of thing. But I guarantee you, they had no idea yet. It's just that again, this movie had such a huge ripple effect that they quickly decided they needed to do a sequel ASAP.
Oh my God. I think I already knew this, but I just realized that the actor that played RoboCop in the movies, came back to reprise the role for the voice in both Mortal Kombat 11 and the
And the
RoboCop
video
video
game, yeah.
game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't actually realize when I was
That's
playing
fair.
I didn't realize when I was playing Mortal Kombat 11 that was actually the original actor. I thought maybe they just gotten a really good sound alike.
Oh no, he loves coming back for RoboCop in any way possible. That was probably his biggest role, and he does not mind coming back to do it.
So let's talk about the characters in this a bit. Like I do love the police sergeant,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sergeant Reed, and the guy just he looks the role like he's like they got a lot of good actors in this, but there's a couple people that just fit the bill more than others.
Right.
Like he looks like what you expect, and like I said, when I saw him, like I know this movie I'm talking about came later. Like my brain instantly went to remembering that scene from Last Action Hero where Arnold's like police chief was yelling at him and that. um, and Nancy Allen as Ann Lewis. She very much looked like what you would think a girl cop is gonna look like.
Yeah.
Um, there any casting choices in this that particularly stuck out to you?
Well, I mean, there's Kurtwood as Clarence. I mean, we all know him as Red from that '70s show nowadays, but he is such a good pick for a villain.
Oh yeah, and yeah,
Such casual chaos and violence.
and another meme that is the one point where he goes, "Can you fly, Bobby boy?"
Hey, fly, Bobby. And some of his one-liners too. Yeah, just give me my fucking phone call.
Yeah, it's like I said this guy Kurtwood Smith played he he is to me the most prolific actor in this. Like I recognize him from the most other things that where he actually stuck out as opposed to a lot of
Um,
the actors on this list.
Bob Martin's actor because I know he was in TV shows my family really liked to watch. Were always faces I kind of knew and grew up with. Peter Weller occasionally as well, although not as often. Speaking of which, what else has Peter Weller been in? I know another movie that's Peter Weller's in that you're gonna have to see if you haven't seen it yet is Buckaroo Banzai.
I've heard that name, but I've never actually seen it.
Oh, I have it. I've seen it at least 3 times. I've only had it for like 5, 6 years. It's probably like the best art house sci-fi movie I've ever seen, and he's once again the main character in it. So yeah, It's one of those ones that we'll have to see.
Right.
Um, God, yeah, Peter Weller's still freaking everywhere. Star Trek.
A lot of these people were in Star Trek.
A lot of these guys, yeah, did little visits to Star Trek. Holy smokes! Well, and of course, RoboCop movies. Yeah,
And then I remember somebody pointing out, wasn't like a lot of the cast of like gargoyles people that were in Star Trek.
I think that's a thing too. Yeah,
But I just think it's funny that it seems like Kurtwood Smith like either plays a villain or an angry dad. Those seem to be his two roles.
his go-tos. Yeah, that slow burn angry. Oh, Peter Weller also played a version of Batman.
Oh, what did one of the
The Dark Knight Returns Part One and Two. He played Batman Bruce Wayne.
oh the DC animated versions of those? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I was not aware of that. I mean, I've seen those, but I was not aware that he was the actor that
yeah,
played
he
that.
was the lead voice actor for those. Awesome. I might have to check those out even more so now.
Because as it turns out, a lot of times when I watch an animated thing, I don't really look at the credits unless I
But the voice
specifically
kind of gets your
yeah
ear.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah I hear a voice. I'm like, wait a minute, is that so and so? Then I actually will look at the credits and see what it says. Wait, he was Peter Weller was on an episode of the Irate Gamer.
Yeah, I just saw that too.
That
One
is
episode as himself.
that is weird. I mean, I know the Angry Video Game Nerd got some cameos. I didn't know Irate Gamer managed to pull that off.
Rug. What the heck? Okay, yeah. Peter Weller, matter of fact, got another role as late as last year for a TV show called Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. What?
Oh, that's a Marvel property. Uh,
Ah.
and from what I understand, it got canceled. So,
Oh. Oh
uh,
well.
oh well. Unfortunately, that's
Uh,
that's one of their very kid friendly
uh,
IPs. Where like the Moon Girl herself is kind of a little kid. She's a 13-year
yeah.
old.
Okay.
Devil Dinosaur is a longer running character that basically just got lumped together with her because it was cute to have a little girl with a dinosaur running around.
Right.
Um, so I was
But
gonna,
yeah.
yeah. So do you have like a scene you would consider your favorite scene?
Uh hmm. Favorites. There's a honestly, there's a ton of really good scenes in this one. Different shootouts, different action sequences, different really good moments of dialogue. Honestly, every once in a while, it still gets me. When RoboCop returns to the his home, to Alex's home. Every once in a while, I'll start seeing those clips, and just as his wife fades and the music starts to swell, I start to get that really heavy chest feeling, and I'm like, "Oh, I want to butcher somebody too." It almost kind of gives you the angry tears.
Yeah,
It's just such a well put pieced together bit of cinema, just all those flashbacks, and also again, Peter Weller not only as just a stellar actor to begin with, but a stellar suit actor. You just see him as he just picks up momentum, and you're just seeing the anger in a robot picking up before he walks into the next room and smashes a screen in.
yeah,
Definitely one of the more heavy, heartfelt moments of the movie. But again, also a lot of other good scenes. What's one of yours?
well, it's like when he first goes out on patrol, I loved this moment where he comes across the two goons that are
Oh,
trying to have their way with a woman,
mm-hmm.
and the one guy holds her at knife point and is like, I'll kill her," and he
Target.
because his targeting system is so good, he can tell where on someone's clothing he could shoot through and not hit them. So he shot through her skirt, like right below her crotch, and shot the guy behind her in the
Right in the
junk.
ghoulies. Right
Yeah,
in the gonads.
right in the family jewels. And like that was just insane because it took her a second to realize what had happened because she looks down, sees the hole in her dress, and just realizes the freaking pinpoint accuracy he had to do that and not hit her. Because like an actual human probably could not pull that off.
You could, but
Would
it would be very close.
or it would at least involve more luck than just plain accuracy.
Yeah.
The other one I really love is actually at the end of the movie when he shows up in the middle of the meeting,
Oh,
confronts Dick Jones, accuses him of murder, plays the footage. The funny thing is, like, they just play the one clip of him saying how he killed Bob Morton. It's like, the thing is, like, he could have
there's
made
a
a
lot more.
he could have made a fucking greatest hits reel
Montage,
of all
yeah.
the fucking evidence against him because freaking Clarence Boddicker is saying that he works for him.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy not only killed Bob Morton, he was also involved in the city's crime problems that the company's supposed to be trying to fix.
Yeah.
But the whole thing, he can't arrest him because of Directive 4 says you cannot act against an executive of the company. So he's there unable to do anything, and the old man CEO gets grabbed and held at gunpoint and says, "Dick, you're fired." And Robocop says,
Yep.
"Thank you." Shoots him and sends him flying out the
Knees him and
window.
then gets shot out the window. Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's no longer an executive.
Looks like somebody has just lost their job and their privileges.
They're not getting shot privileges.
Basically.
Yeah, this is, and yeah, a lot,
Oh.
a lot of this movie is just the
And I mean,
perfect.
also there's the warehouse shootout and where they beat the confession out of Clarence for the Dick Jones connection.
Oh yeah, yeah,
The
yeah. Oh
smashing
yeah,
those windows after the already an epic gunfight where just some
yeah.
of the shots Robocop doesn't even need to look over the shoulder.
Yeah, oh, yeah, it goes into the middle of a factory where they're making cocaine, and
Hmm.
all these guys with machine guns are just unloading on him, and it's having no effect. And he just starts taking them out one at a time. At the point where you're the only guy still standing, if you have a brain in your skull, don't you just drop the gun and run away?
I think after about 10 guys fell, I'd be like, you know what? This ain't working.
Yeah, like
Bye.
like everybody else has died, and he doesn't seem to have like taken even the slightest amount of injury. I'm clearly not going to win this. Why am I still here? There's not
I think
anyone
I
to.
think we need to invest in bulletproof bullets, armor penetrating bullets. Anyways, goodbye.
Because I mean, it's not. Oh, what are you worried about your boss that's going to come after you for running away? Your boss is dead on the ground
About
already.
to be dead. Yeah. If he's still firing, he's gonna be another idiot who's about to be taken out too. Bye. I'd
Yeah.
rather be one of the few that survives.
Granted, it wouldn't look as epic if somebody actually gave up and ran away, but there is a point where you're just like, are all the minions just stupid?
Well, apparently their bosses are just as dumb. Um.
Like
Yeah.
Clarence at least realized, you know what? I need to get the fuck out of here. He actually is the one that tries to run, but
He
the
is one of
prop,
the few that tries to run, but he dives right through a roof ceiling instead and stuns himself for a moment and gets him right into Robo's clutches.
yeah, and he's the person RoboCop was actually after, so he's not gonna let him get away.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, and it is like the weird thing is like the old man CEO of the company is literally the only person in this that doesn't just come off as like a screedy or out of OCP that doesn't come off as like a scummy corporate type.
They do change that a little bit later, but yeah, at least the limited amount of time we get with him in this movie, he actually legitimately seems to be on the up and up. It's
Yeah,
just everyone else underneath him
yeah.
kind of starts to mess things up.
Because when Ed 209 freaking obliterates one of the other executives in the meeting at the beginning of the movie, and Dick Jones is like, "It's just a minor malfunction. We can fix it." He's like, "Minor malfunction." And he was
Oh,
fucking
there's a
pissed.
glitch.
He was fucking pissed that he had the fucking nerve to say that after what just happened.
Well,
Um,
I think he was still more mad at the fact that this is a lot of lost money for a project that's gone nowhere still and can't be used. But also the fact that it just literally killed one of the CEOs in the office.
but Bob Morton is also, you know, portrayed as like a piece of shit, in spite of the fact he's the one that came up with the Robocop program. But I guess to some extent, it's like you kind of gotta be a piece of shit to bring somebody back from the dead as a robot.
Yeah, kinda.
Um,
Especially when you hide the fact that you're going to do that to them inside of a bunch of paperwork.
I mean, like his partner that helped him on the project seemed fine. Um, I'm
Which
not
one was
sure
he?
which character he is. I think he's
Johnson.
Johnson. Yeah, because he's in all three movies, so that has to be who that
Yep.
was. He's decent, but he gets next to no spoken lines in the movie.
Very few. Matter of fact, his last bit of the movie is him giving the thumbs up after Bob is shot out
Dick is.
after Dick is shot out the window. Yeah.
But yeah, so Bob, he's kind of portrayed as like an asshole. He goes around pushing people around, and right before he ends up getting killed by Clarence, he's freaking snorting cocaine off of the breasts of like,
Bookers.
were they hookers or were they like
Yes. Oh,
coworkers,
models. Models.
models?
Air quotes. We're not sure, but models. Or we could call them what the director called them and what Clarence called them.
Bitches.
Bitches.
Bitches need to leave.
Bitches leave. And once their scene was done, they did it in like 2, 3 takes. The director literally starts clapping and goes, "Everyone, thank you to the bitches," because they were done. They were done for the day. That was their paycheck, and they were outie. And it was just the two other guys on set for the rest of the day.
Yeah, so it's like in any other movie they would have probably set Bob up to be a more sympathetic character.
They didn't care in this one.
They
This is
didn't.
about
They,
corporate greed.
they didn't care. But it did make it feel like they dragged his death scene out as long as they did for a character that you're going to be kind of indifferent towards him dying.
Well, again, he's not the worst, but he's definitely not perfect.
Right, right. But it's like you get the thing where you're wondering if there's a sliver of hope that he's going to survive after he's been shot twice in both legs and he's got a
And then
grenade
they
on the
completely
table.
annihilate him with an explosion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got a grenade on the table that's about to go off, and he's trying to get to it to, I guess, maybe throw it away where it would be far enough away from him that it wouldn't blow him up, but
Yeah.
he doesn't manage to.
Mm.
Um, yeah, no,
Oh. Johnson's actor is also in Briscoe County Jr.
yeah, so
Sorry, doing a little IMDb
right.
research too while I'm at it.
So probably the most likable characters in this were obviously RoboCop and Lewis, Sergeant Reed, and Johnson and the CEO.
Yeah.
Everybody,
About
el-
sums up all the good
everybody,
people.
everybody else is either scum or doesn't get any dialogue for it to matter.
Different shades of scum to complete total garbage villainy, or yeah, just such a background
Oh
character.
yes,
It's like they're there and then they're gone.
I think the one character we do have to mention out of Clarence's hired goons though is Joey Cox, played by Jesse D. Goins, I think is the name.
Yeah, that seems to be about right for that pronunciation.
Because as you pointed out,
That man could have played. Yeah, I think I may have heard someone else mention the idea, and I totally agree with it. That man, if they would have gone with like a black man for a version of the Joker, that man could play it
That
hardcore, nonstop.
that laugh.
That laugh in particular, you just let this man go on a giggle rampage, and it'd be like, oh hell.
Yeah,
But yeah, he has some interesting acting chops that could get him some very good villain
he
roles.
had a very good psychotic laugh, and even some of the lines he said in this movie
Could almost
sound
be Joker
yeah,
esque.
yeah, sounded
Yeah.
like something the Joker might have actually said. So like I was like, yeah, it's like the other henchmen were just not
Oh, he
memorable,
played a
really.
voice for the real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Who did he play?
He played one of the ghosts called Copycat.
Okay. I thought you were going to tell me he played one of the Ghostbusters.
No, no, no.
um, the other henchmen for Clarence weren't really memorable.
Not the most memorable
There's
crew.
like Emil, like he looked familiar to me. Like I felt like I've
And he's
seen
been
him.
around a bit, but yeah, it's hard to say.
I don't recognize any of his other roles from IMDb. Paul McCrane is the actor's name. I think it's just that
Yeah.
he has that particular gang member thug look going on that like
Yeah.
you've seen a lot of people portray. So I think my brain was just like, I've
Just
seen that.
autoed onto something that looks
I've
somebody
seen
who looks familiar,
yeah, I've
yeah.
seen that look before. But he's not really. But I haven't. Don't think I've actually seen him in anything else. And I did joke that, considering what we just watched last time, uh, I think Leon Nash was the other
Yeah, Leon was
played by
the
Ray
he
Wise.
looks like he could have
He
been a member of the Juicy Fruits
yeah he
from
looking
Phantom of the Paradise.
yeah he very much did. He looked like he was one of them if they had aged about 10 or 15 years more.
Well, given that the movie was the 70s, but no, I don't think it goes. Yeah, I don't think his IMDb goes back to the 60s. But no, I'm pretty sure he's not one of them.
Yeah, well, I mean it wouldn't
T.J.
be.
Hooker, yeah,
He is one of those. Yeah,
Airwolf.
he
He's
is.
one that also gets around a lot.
Yeah,
Apparently,
he's
he's
one of
still
those.
active.
Yeah, he's one of those people that has
Twin
multiple
Peaks and Star Trek. Holy moly! Okay,
multiple roles every year. Like that's not something you see that often. Like
especially in somebody his age.
a lot of people you'll see like a couple year gaps in between some of their roles, but like he had a lot of years. Fuck,
2005. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roles in
Jesus
2005.
Christ, he had like 10 roles in 2012.
TV,
That's
a couple movies, a couple of animated things. Oh, he was Perry White for Superman Doomsday.
I have not seen that in a while. One of my friends really hated that movie because it was called Superman Doomsday, and Doomsday was barely in it. Because what it actually was it was a focus on the death of Superman storyline, which
Yeah.
you have to have happen early in the movie for
2,
it to be
3,
able to
4,
focus on that.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 roles in 2011.
That is a very active man.
He was Secretary of the State for X-Men First Class. Normally wouldn't name something like that, but the fact of the matter is that a lot of these politicians in X-Men are very important characters usually. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Considering the focus of X-Men is kind of on what's the way to put this? The X-Men are supposed to be like a general. The mutants in general are supposed to be like a general like stand-in for minorities of any
yeah,
particular kind, more or less. It,
yeah. They're basically like a minority message, but it can be stapled onto anybody essentially because of just what they are.
right.
So when politicians get involved, it's very important. So he was one of the politicians in first class. So there we go.
All right.
Crazy
Uh,
eyes.
I think that's really just about everything we need to say about the
Yeah.
movie, though.
Just the actors are still around. At least most of them are. There's sadly a few of them have passed on a little earlier than expected. Uh, the movie itself, fantastic movie. Highly recommend if you've not seen it. I know there's enough people out there that have been doing reactions on YouTube that's like, are you guys under a rock?
Well, if you're a younger person, there's a good chance you haven't seen it because it's not. You gotta remember, like back when we were kids, they re-aired a lot of stuff on TV. Nowadays, they don't do any of that with anything. Because
I suppose that's more true nowadays than ever because people don't even watch TV that much anymore. It's
like
mostly whatever you get on your streaming platform or
right,
on YouTube.
because you remember when they used to actually have cartoons on network television instead of only on cable channels that are dedicated to cartoons.
As a matter of fact, actually, one of the local stations for one of those pre-built TV things here in my state actually does have a channel devoted to doing a couple of different kinds of Saturday morning cartoon things. So yeah, it's very hard to come by unless you're looking in the right place.
Right. But still, like I mean, the thing is, you got to remember is like back when we were kids,
They don't.
they were still
Yeah.
re-airing episodes of Scooby Doo from the 70s.
Yeah. Well, they
Uh,
still technically do that on some of those channels too, but yeah,
like
they were
there's,
re-airing Scooby Doo. They were re-airing things from Looney Tunes from like the '60s.
I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure at least the '60s.
there are a few
If you had a
things.
VHS tape, you could get stuff from the '40s still.
There are a few things that still get re-aired somewhat regularly, nowadays, like Seinfeld gets re-aired like the way Sanford and Son would get re-aired when we were kids and
Mm.
teenagers. But
If you're watching TV Land, yeah.
but there's a lot of a lot of movies don't get re-aired on TV anymore. Like a lot of cartoons don't really get re-aired. Like and a lot of them they don't even get re-aired on the actual cable channels that are dedicated to cartoons. Like a few years back, we had a situation at my work. Well, I shouldn't really say it's a situation, but one of my coworkers that has like a mental disability. He kind of
Right.
has like a weird speech impediment
All right.
where certain letters turn into W's. So he kind of talks like Elmer Fudd. So like,
Oh,
because
gotcha.
he's
Yeah.
asking if they want paper or plastic, but it comes out as paper or plastic. And I had commented to one of my other coworkers that he kind of has like a talks like Elmer Fudd. She just looks at me and goes, "I don't know who that is." I'm like, "What? Like what the like?" Because the thing is, Looney Tunes weren't even originally from our generation. They were
No.
older than that, but they got
And,
played all the time.
and they've had at least two or three new generations since our time. I know they've done more Looney Tunes shows since then.
Not a whole lot,
I want
but
to say the oldest one might be somewhere in the vicinity of like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So they're still out there. It's just somebody's under a rock for that one.
granted,
I'm sorry they are.
the newer ones are terrible because they're like, guns are bad, so we're gonna give Elmer
Oh,
Fudd a
that's the that's
scythe.
the oh that's the newest one, like about 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, the one I'm talking like the one before
Right.
that.
But so I mean, my point is because of the fact that a lot of this stuff doesn't really get aired anymore. I'm
Sadly,
not super surprised if somebody hasn't seen RoboCop or Conan or the original Terminator or any of that stuff. I'm not super surprised if people are like, I haven't seen that. But it is kind of sad because a lot of those movies are classics for
these are
reasons.
these are touchstones for good reasons. They should be far more advertised and far more watched than they
Especially,
are. Apparently,
especially because these movies have aged really well. You can go back and watch them; they're still good.
they're still good,
It's
and
hard,
there's still something to be heard and learned from some of these, especially RoboCop.
and it's harder to say that about a lot of newer movies because
Yeah, a lot of the newer movies are flash in the pan. They're basically done.
A lot of newer stuff, a lot of younger writers are just, they can't write something that will be timeless. They have to write something based off of what's currently happening in modern societal issues. So, like 10 years from now, you're going to watch that and be like, wow,
Well, that
that's
aged
weird. I
all right.
forgot about that.
Yeah, that aged poorly. It's still basically over now.
Yeah. So, you got any final thoughts on Robocop?
Uh, um, Epic classic, one of the best sci-fi action films ever made. No shortage of reasons why they would try to sequelize the heck out of this thing.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that some of them aren't as good as the others.
And it's a shame they failed miserably at rebooting it.
Oh yeah,
Which
massive shame.
I have a feeling we're gonna, if we do keep doing different series, is we're gonna have a lot of ones where we're gonna talk about the reboot and we're just like, wow, this is really 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 bad. Because another one, if we ever get to it, will
Fucking
definitely be
awful.
another one. If we ever get to it, will definitely be Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ooh, I remember really liking that one, and then kind of having a change of opinion as time passed.
But I will say this is
Yeah.
going to be interesting going through the rest of these. I know you and me don't really particularly hate two, but we're both ready to tear three apart when we get
Oh,
to it.
I remember 2, 3 being a chintzy little piece of work. 2, I've actually not seen all the way through yet. I've seen clips at best, so I'm interested in catching that one next time.
Well, I do have to say, since it's relevant, what was it with the '90s making cartoons out of rated R movies? Kids cartoons out of rated R movies.
Oh, what was it? Oh, that's easy. I can quote another movie character for you. Merchandising
I just think it's funny because there was a RoboCop cartoon.
in the '90s. Yeah,
There was a Toxic Crusader cartoon.
yeah, in the '90s, early '90s, very
There's
early '90s. Matter of fact, there's actually like 2 or 3 RoboCop cartoons.
there was also a RoboCop cartoon that wasn't actually its own show but appeared inside of the TV series.
Really?
Yes, because there was, I believe it was the TV series where they had a cartoon clip where what was they didn't call him RoboCop in the cartoon, but it was supposed to, obviously based off of him, and he was fighting what were referred to as homeless ninjas, and they were ninjas that literally had on their shirt a picture of a house with a no sign around it.
Mm. Good lord.
Like, it's the only thing I remember about that because I just remember for some reason when I saw it, that gag just hit me the right way at the right time
Good
because
lord.
I was an edgy 20 something at the time.
Yeah, the series will definitely have to be so the live action series will definitely have to be something we dive into when we get a chance to.
Yeah, we'll have to do that probably separately because I have to see if I can even
Yeah,
find
something else outside the franchise. Hmm?
find a way for us to actually be able to watch it together online because I don't know if it's on any streaming services.
I'm not sure, but not that I'm aware of.
But this will be interesting as we continue down the road of the RoboCop.
Down this little rabbit hole.
So until next time, everybody, have a good one.
Good night.